Good evening and welcome inside of Geisman Gymnasium for Senior Night 2022 between the visiting Alverno College Inferno and the Concordia University Chicago Cougars. Carter Gledhill, Peter Borkowski with you on the Cougar Sports Network as we get ready for one of the final conference matchups of the season for the Cougars. It comes after a loss on Tuesday night against the Benedictine Eagles where they fell 3-0. And it was those first two sets, Peter, that the Cougars really competed, and it went down to a couple points at the end of the first and second set. The Cougars lost 26-24 in set one, 25-23 in set two, but set three, there was no gas left in the tank, and they lost 25-10, and that was their first loss after picking up wins against MSOE and Wisconsin Lutheran before that conference matchup.
Those first two sets against Benedictine were really nice sets to see from the Cougars, even though they couldn't pull the W out in either of them, but you really noticed the trend in their hitting percentages from that game, 250 and 163 from sets 1 and 2 respectively. That's set 3 though, like you said, Carter, team just ran out of gas. Their hitting percentage fell all the way to negative .059. So Cougars, they're going to look for a nice bounce back effort after that tough loss to the Eagles.
And this is something that I know you talk with Coach Troy Campbell a lot in the Coaches Weekly about the team dynamic too, but the difference between those first two sets and something that's been the success of this team so far this season and has led them to a 9-13 record has been the communication. And it's those 6 players on the court communicating with each other, having good chemistry, and that's a big part of why this team is able to get hot, but it's also a reason why this team can fall off and stay ice cold.
You can really tell how this team is playing just by their body language. When all the girls on the court are into it, they're excited, they're energetic. This team is a fantastic volleyball team to watch. They're going to put up good results no matter who they play, but it's when things start to slip a little, when they, maybe the other team goes on a really big run and they pull away too much. The Cougars kind of cower back a little bit. You can see it in their body language, so they got to stay on top of the ball all night tonight, energy-wise. If they do that, they should have no problem with this Alverno team.
This is an Alverno team that had a 10-game losing skid in the middle of their season. They have not won a conference match yet this season and are currently on a 3-game losing skid after losing to Lakeland back on Tuesday night as well, 3-1. This is an Alverno team where they have a couple key players, not a lot of players, but they only need to rely on a few in order to get that attack percentage up and get those kills.
Well, you can just see it by looking at the court right now. This is not a deep team by any means, so if you're able to go at these players and wear them out, you should be able to tire them a little quicker. But like you said, Carter, this is a team who really relies on just a couple key players. Number 1, Selena Upshore leads the team in kills. He's up there in kills per set with 1.34. You also have number 11, Roland West. She leads the team in kills per set with 3.83 kills a set. So the Cougars, if they can shut down those high offensive threats, they should be able to take care of, again, a pretty shallow Alverno team numbers-wise.
And we mentioned it's senior night, so we have to highlight the 4 seniors that are being honored here by the team. Jada Carr, Grace Haywood, Katie Schrems, and the junior Katie Stonich, who is graduating in the spring. These are 4 players for the Cougars, and let's be more particular. Katie Schrems and Jada Carr have been here 4 years. They've been big members of this program, but also, too, we're talking about Grace Haywood, who transferred in last season, didn't play as much because of an injury, but still has performed at a high level this year. She's the number 1 attacker on this team, and followed up by the junior Katie Stonich with 166 kills on the season. This is a team built by senior leadership, and it's kind of rode that course throughout the season, especially with a lot of young talent.
The Cougars have really benefited from that duo of Haywood and Stonich up front as the outside hitters. Haywood, 3rd in the conference in kills per set, also 3rd in the conference in points per set. And like you said, Carter, Katie Stonich is not too far behind her in most categories. And like you said, you have Jada Carr, Katie Schrems, who are really good senior leaders for this team, do a lot for the team off the court. I mean, this is a team who does everything good on and off the court. So when you have those senior leaders, they kind of bring up everybody else. It adds a lot to this roster.
Well, as we get ready for the match to start, scheduled 7 p.m. start time here in River Forest. Peter, I'll toss it to you. What's your one key to the game? What do the Cougars need to do to add a little icing on the cake and cap off a senior day with the win over the Inferno?
Well, I mentioned it a little bit just a couple minutes ago, but they need to just keep going after this Inferno team. They don't have that many players on the roster, so if you keep sending the ball over, keep forcing Alverno to play to wear themselves out, they just don't have as many fresh bodies to replenish their tired players. So at some point, you got to think the Inferno are going to reach a breaking point. So Cougars, they just got to stay aggressive, keep sending the ball over the net, and things are going to work out in the end.
Cougars trying to pick up their 10th win on the season over the Alverno College Inferno here tonight in River Forest on senior night. We'll have starting lineups and women's volleyball from Geisman Gymnasium when we return on the Cougar Sports Network after a word from President Russell Dawn.
Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
totaling 118 kills and 50 total blocks as an outside hitter. She will be graduating this spring with a degree in marketing. This is what Coach Campbell has to say about Jada. Jada has been a tremendous part of our program. She She is passionate about being there for teammates and coaches. I am incredibly proud of her work she has done academically and on the court as a whole. When I think of Jada, I think of the conversations we've had about her potential and what she could accomplish both athletically and academically. You fulfilled those promises through adversity, and that says a whole lot more than anything you could have accomplished otherwise. Thank you for being you and helping us build this program. Jada Carr. Number 12, Grace Haywood from Northport, Illinois. Grace is accompanied by Kathy and John Haywood. Grace has played in 44 matches in her 2 years as a Cougar. She has totaled 313 kills and 341 digs as an outside hitter. A big accomplishment for Grace this season was when she broke the school record for most kills in a single match, 34 against Marion. She will be graduating this spring with a degree in sports and recreation management. Here's what Coach Campbell has to say about Grace. Grace transferred to us at a time when we really needed some depth in both play and leadership. She came in, helped us, and supported us in ways that we will forever be grateful for. When I think of Grace, I will always think of her grit and determination with which she plays. She is a fierce defender of her teammates and has an incredible work ethic that is unmatched by anyone we've coached here at CUC. Thank you for being you and helping us build the program. Grace Haywood. Number 13, Katie Shreds from South Bend, Indiana. Katie is accompanied by Sarah and J.J. Shreds. Katie's played in 31 matches in 4 years as a Cougar, totaling 77 kills and 32 total blocks as a middle blocker. She will be graduating this spring with a degree in accounting. This is what Coach Campbell has to say about Katie. Katie has been such an important member of our team. She has always embraced her role on the team and done her best to come out every night and make an impact. She's been a leader on and off the court. When I think of Katie, I'll always think of her work ethic and dedication to the people around her. She's always been a prime example of who and what we are. We will miss the impact that she has made here, and that impact will live on through the players that she has influenced. Thank you for being you and helping us build this program. Katie Shreds. And number 18, Katie Stonich from Sadie, Kentucky. Katie is accompanied by Pam and Kevin Stonich. She's played in 57 matches in her 3 years as a Cougar, totaling 504 kills and 370 digs as an outside hitter. She will be graduating this spring with a degree in psychology and criminal justice. This is what Coach Campbell has to say about Katie. Katie is such a breath of fresh air everywhere she goes. She is funny, hardworking, compassionate, and someone who continues to overcome adversity with grace and
There you have it, the starting lineups for both teams. We'll run it back one more time. The libero for the Inferno is Brianne Flannery, and the starters are Selena Upshore, Lineca Harley, Natalie Onazi, Roland West, Julia Taylor, and Alex McMath, coached by Skylar Shapleski and Shannon Allen. For the Cougars, Julia Beers is the libero, and starting is senior Jada Carr, Isabel Vernango, Lily Hunt, senior Grace Haywood, Michaela Lavoie, Katie Stonich as well. The junior graduating in the spring, celebrated on senior night as we get ready for volleyball here inside Geisman Gymnasium. Temperatures have picked up outside. It was a nice 70 degrees at one point compared to what it was at like 45 on Tuesday night. So a good spot to be in to close out the volleyball season as we enter next week, the final week of the season. Cougars still pushing for a playoff spot. It'll take a lot to happen for the Cougars to get into the NAC tournament, but you can never count out the Cougars, Peter.
Well, they're in a really good spot right now, too. 2 of their last 3 games are at home tonight and tomorrow's match against Edgewood. Alverno is a team the Cougars have had historical success against, 18-1 all time. They've won the last 6 games as well in between these two in this history. So, you know, if you can pick up a win tonight, you get another home win tomorrow against a good Edgewood team, granted, and then hopefully you can finish things off with the W against Rockford next week. That's kind of putting things in position that they could, you know, make that playoff push. They could make that playoff picture. It's one of those last couple seeds in. So things set up nicely for the Cougars. Now it's time for them to execute.
Highlight the seniors throughout the broadcast tonight. Again, 4 seniors being honored: Jada Carr, Grace Haywood, Katie Stonich, and Katie Schrems. The Inferno will serve to start set 1. It'll be the senior from Midland, Michigan, Alex McMath. 151 kills on the season. Her serve goes out of bounds. First point goes to the Cougars.
I don't know if things could start off any better for the Cougars. They didn't even have to do anything. Still got the first point out of the match. Now you got control, up 1-0. Time to get a big lead here to start set 1 off.
Katie Stonich, second on the team in kills with 166 on the season. As the Inferno go for an attack to Natalie Onazi, and that goes into the net. 2-0 Cougars.
Well, talking about this is the start. The Cougars want opposite for Inferno. They've lost their last 3 straight, so they really can't afford to make any mistakes against a good Cougars team, too. They got to clean up play quick here.
Stonich's serve was going to go out of the back of the court. It was kept in play by Roland West. And then an attack error by Onazi gives the Cougars another point. Katie Stonich to serve for the 3rd time. And miscommunication up at the front. Alverno right now not able to get anything going, and now a timeout called by Shannon Allen early, similar to how the Eagles came to town on Tuesday night, went up 6-0 over the Cougars, and then the Cougars were forced to calm down a little bit here as we'll stay here on this timeout. Peter, right now Cougars really not having to do much, and they're still up 4-0, but what do they need to do to maintain this kind of pace of play they have?
Well, you can't let up. You can't sit back and, you know, let Alverno keep making the mistakes. Like you said, Carter, Cougars really haven't done much so far. All these 4 points have really been off of Alverno mistakes, but you can't rely on that. Alverno, you know, they're still a college program. You figure these players are going to pull it together at some point soon here in set 1. So Cougars, they got to put that gas pedal on the floor, keep all the pressure going. Don't let Alverno have any chance of getting anything going.
Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics and women's volleyball. Click sports and women's volleyball to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more at CUCougars.com. A nice low serve from Stonich, a couple touches, and the Cougars get another point.
Say Cougars, well, Stonich, she's the only one who served so far for CUC's. Really been going after West on these serves. West listed as an outside hitter. Seems to be the key right now is target her because Alverno's not being able to get much going when she's the one receiving that first serve.
First touch on the serve from Stonich was Flannery, and a nice block up front. Jada Carr, the senior.
And lots of good body language from the Cougars as well. Talked about that in the pregame show. Look like they're having fun out there. You see the players laughing, talking with each other.
So the Alverno Inferno get their first point on a short serve from Katie Stonich. Scores now 6-1 here in the early stages of set one.
Well, now it's important for the Cougars get this point right back. Don't let Alverno go on any kind of run here.
The serve from Sharasti Taraban goes into the net, so another service error for Alverno. Grace Haywood into the match for the Cougars. Julia Beers, the libero, takes a seat. After the substitution to come in is number 10, Lily Hunt, and a nice block up front from the Cougars.
Alverno's just having trouble getting the ball under control. We're seeing a lot of errors off the first or second touch. They're going to really have to settle into a groove if they want to pull back into this one.
And a service ace from Lily Hunt. 16 service aces on the season now for the freshman from Greenfield, Indiana. She's been a big part of this defense for CUC, especially at the net. She stands at 5'11", a big body, and the Inferno keep it up, and a free ball for the Cougars. Alverno keeps it alive. Sending it over was Lavoie. Vernango now outside to Haywood and smacks it down. Grace Haywood picks up her first kill of the match.
You like to see that from Haywood. Notices Alverno's really been struggling to handle any kind of hard attack, so she absolutely launches that one over the net and proves fruitful for her team.
Flannery with a dig. Carr not able to get the attack over. A nice combo block from the Inferno. That was Upshore and West on the far side of the net.
Well, this is where Alverno is really going to have to make their mark is at the front. As we said, they've been having trouble receiving the ball, so they can just keep that ball on the Cougar side of the net. They don't have to worry about that.
They go to Carr again. There is Vernango to keep it alive. Attack goes far side for West. Vernango with a dig. Stonich sends it over for a free ball. Right now, the Inferno just keeping it up. And an attack error from Lavoie. Missed time jump in the middle as it rolled all the way to the bleachers. Cougars up 10-3 here in set one. They go to Haywood again, and that is untouched. Another kill for Haywood. Substitutions for the Cougars. Katie Schrems comes in, as well as Carissa Lynn. We'll get to talk about Grace Haywood and her 2 years at CUC in a second. Lynn's serve is received in the back row by Cooch. And a nice dig from Beers. The Inferno keep it alive, a free ball over to CUC. Schrems. And a point for the Inferno. It was first ruled for CUC. Schrems' attack hit off of the pole on the far side. Substitution for the Inferno. Coming in is number 3, Izzy Janyu.
Inferno's going to have to capitalize on any CUC mistakes. That's not what they want to see there, but yeah, this is a CUC team that's clearly outmatching Alverno right now. So anytime CUC does slip up, like we saw with Schrems hitting the pin a volley or two ago, Inferno got to capitalize on that one.
Well, the other thing is, too, is the Inferno went to 4 players in the back row, and it worked there as they were able to get a point courtesy of Natalie Onazi. But receiving that serve, the Inferno decided to move from 3 to 4 players in the back row. As Onazi, her serve is received by Beers. Attack far side to Stonich, and it goes out and hits the assistant coach for the Inferno, Skylar Shapleski.
Well, again, now we're seeing Alverno still down by 6, but that's a lot better position than where they were a couple points ago. Taking advantage of these CUC mistakes, they got to keep it up.
Roll shot from Stonich. Point goes to CUC. Sub in for the Cougars, number 10, Lily Hunt. Serving for the Cougars is Julia Beers. Low serve. Attack set up for the middle and blocked by Hunt.
You talked about Hunt's presence at the net a couple minutes ago, Carter. 7th in the conference in blocks per set. .73 is her mark right now. So Hunt's immediately coming in as a freshman and making her impact known. And that you assume that, you know, she'll be here for another 3 years. She's only going to get better, too.
Free ball over for the Cougars. Lynn sets it up for Schrems, and her attack is too long. Katie Schrems, a senior from South Bend, Indiana, attended John Adams High School. Serving for the Inferno is the libero, Brianne Flannery, Stonich with a nice attack, roll shot over into the back row. 15-7 in favor of the Cougars.
Nice adjustment there from Stonich. We saw one of her attacks, a very hard strike. That one went out of bounds. That was one that almost took out Alverno's assistant coach. And so now she's kind of readjusted, using those more well-placed shots rather than just focusing on pure velocity, and she's getting points out of it now.
Isabel Vernango served it for the Cougars. And a block from Carr and Hunt. Rejecting Upshore at the net. Cougars go up by 9.
Well, that's just a physical advantage the Cougars have. They got a lot more tall personnel than Alverno. Alverno's got a 6'1" Julia Taylor, but other than that, they're a relatively shorter squad. Cougars definitely have the height advantage, and they're going to be using it right now.
Cougars having a lot of opportunities with the free ball. And another attack for Lily Hunt, her first kill of the night. But we talk about the first touch being so important in volleyball, especially for the Inferno right now. They're not able to control that first touch off the serve. We've seen a lot of free balls as well, and puts themselves out of position. And another block for Hunt and Carr.
Well, with that free ball, too, that you've been talking about, Carter, it gives the Cougars plenty of time to set up their offense. They're not playing on their back feet trying to stay defensive. They got that free ball. They basically have the opportunity to go anywhere with it. That's why their offense is kind of running the table right now.
A service ace for Isabel Vernango. Picks up number 26 on the season. Hunt and Carr now have 4 blocks each. Cougars on a 5-0 scoring run. Carr gets a touch on it, and what a save by the Cougars. Carr, Vernango, and Haywood. Vernango keeps it alive. They set up Carr. They go to the outside and look for McMath. And the long rally ends with a point for the Inferno.
It's a great defensive effort from both teams. I saw that one play from a couple Cougars. Don't know how that one stayed off the ground. And then Alverno flashing the defensive prowess as well. And finally able to go on to the attack and reap the benefits with a point. See if they can get some more sustained offense going.
They look to number 9, Onazi. Another block for the Cougars. Been a block party all night. Cougars up 28 in set 1.
Kind of wondering why Alverno's still going to Onazi on that far side of the court. You got Carr and Hunt right there all night. Alverno might want to change it up to get past that deadly blocking duo.
Strong back row attack from Roland West. Cougars were there to receive it. They go back to Onazi, and it's kept up for a touch from Vernango. But another point for the Inferno.
As they went to that same spot again. This time it works out for them, but I like that back row attack we saw earlier. make Stonehenge make a play rather than let Hunt and Carr do what they've been doing all night.
So the point actually goes to CUC. A lift was called on the Inferno. They go to the middle. Missed time jump from Selena Upshur, the junior from New Orleans, Louisiana. 7-1 scoring run for the Cougars, now up 22-8 in set one. They go to Onazi again. Beers stood tall in the back row. Haywood brings it down, popping around for the Inferno. They get it over. Vernango keeps it in the front for Hunt. Onazi able to pick up her first kill of the night. It took her a while. That was her 6th total attack and her first kill.
Well, they're really liking that Onazi connection right now, and Cougars were catching on to it, really setting up Hunt and Carr to get a couple of their blocks. So unless Alverno changes up their game plan, that Onazi look is where they're going to right now.
Jada Carr with her first kill of the match gives the Cougars a 23-9 advantage. Lily Hunt, who came into tonight with 88 kills, serves it into the net. Julia Beers will come back on the court. The Inferno will also see Lineker Harley return to the front row. Serving for the Inferno is Selena Upshur. Serve goes out of bounds. 24-10 Cougars. Couple more substitutions. Katie Schrems comes in for Isabel Vernango. Carissa Lynn in for Jada Carr. Lynn will serve for set point. And a block up in front. What a block from Lavoie and Haywood. Cougars win set one 25-10 in easy fashion, Peter. They cruise to a first set victory, and it was really the defense that played a big role in that. The Cougars with 7 blocks in set one.
Well, those blockers, those were doing the main heavy lifting for the Cougars. Jada Carr, Lily Hunt, both putting up some nice numbers, both with 5 blocks each. Grace Haywood and Kayla Levoy added a block of their own. So Alverno just did not have much going there, and a lot of those points were due to Alverno mistakes, a little bit of self-harm getting in their way. So Alverno needs to clean things up if they want to close to set 2. Cougars, they just need to keep doing what they're doing, keep the pressure on.
Cougars win set 1 on senior night. Set 2 coming your way shortly here on the Cougars Sports Network. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. We'd like to thank Jackson Spurgeon and Shirley-Ann Stawinski for being the newest members of the channel. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button to become a member now. If you don't want to become a member at this time, you can donate to CUC Athletics Communication Department to continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thanks button of any video. We sincerely thank you for your support and tuning in to the Cougar Sports Network. So Cougars win set 1, 25-10. It was off to a hot start for the Cougars after some misplayed attacks, as well as some service aces for the Cougars as well. They picked up 3 in set 1, and it was an easy set 1 win over the Inferno for the Cougars.
Well, another thing to note, if you're looking at the points scored, Alverno only strung together consecutive points twice. They did it, it was 10-1, and then they made it 10-3, and then it was 12-4 before the Inferno made it 12-6. So Inferno able to get some points going, but not able to string enough together to really close that gap with the Cougars. They're going to have to learn how to play good, clean volleyball for long stretches of periods, or we're going to see a repeat of set 1 where the Cougars just run away with it.
Like we've mentioned, the Inferno have yet to win a conference matchup this season. They are 2-7 on the road. Serving for the Cougars is Isabel Vernango. And the first ball in play is an attack error on Selena Upshore.
Well, the errors have really been Alverno's Achilles heel. There we go. Looking for the right terminology. 12 attack errors in the first set, 4 service errors. They just got to clean it up.
A nice serve from Vernango, just kissed the net and fell over for a service ace. Last time I checked, though, Peter, I do believe Achilles does have an ear and a heel.
Oh, human anatomy, not one of my specialties. Let's put it that way.
And a nice attack from number 9, Natalie Onazi. We've said her name a couple times. You mentioned in set 1, they tried to go to her a lot, but she wasn't really able to be freed up because she had to worry about Hunt and Carr at the net. This time she stayed a little bit closer to the middle of the court and was rewarded.
Well, I think moving around the court or maybe elevating the ball a bit more. She was putting those attacks right into the blocker's hands. Maybe she brings the velocity down, puts a little bit more arc on the ball, tries to dump it over the blocker's hand. She's going to find some more points. But again, maybe moving around the court as well. Maybe Hunt and Carr were just playing some really good defense.
All tied up at 2 in set 2. And an opposite hand floater from Lily Hunt. A little bit of a mistimed jump. She had to go for the right hand instead. And just backhand it over. Was able to get it down. Katie Stonich to serve for the Cougars. And a strong attack up front. Inferno have seemed to put together a nice game plan here in set 2. Now to serve for the Inferno is Sharisti Cooch. And coming down is Hunt with the point. She's been off to a nice start here. Now has 3 kills on the night and leads all CUC attackers. Tipped at the net from Carr. Cougars keep possession. Carr goes up again and smacks it down, but just out of the line. Cougars bench thought that was down. It was a very close call. They actually rewarded the point to CUC. When the Inferno were acting, it seemed like it was their point.
Maybe a little confusion.
I think what it was is the referee over here in the corner signaled it was out, and then the chair official said it was in. I think that's what we were looking at. This point, though, goes to the Inferno. It is now 5-4 CUC. Upshore to serve for the Inferno. Haywood, that one's down. She picks up kill number 3 on the night.
Well, Alverno, they seem to be most successful, as most teams are, when they're not really giving the Cougars any chance to do anything with the ball. Because I think once we get into a settled volley situation, the Cougars have been running away with this match. So Alverno's really relying on first serve and then Cougar mistakes to get these points right now.
Point goes to the Inferno. Lynn was at the net trying to battle it out with number 7, Lineker Harley.
And whatever their new game plan is, it's obviously working. We'll see how the rest of the set pans out, but only down by 1, 6-5 right now. Much more competitive coming out of the break.
They go to Schrems. Point goes to the Cougars. One of the Inferno players crossed the midline. Another serve for Grace Haywood. Kept alive by number 5, Cooch. Stonich. Strong attack and a tip from the Inferno. Cougars get the point. They now are up 8-5. Haywood in 2 years with CUC coming into tonight with 313 kills. Peter, we talked about her not playing as much last season. She only had tallied 32 kills. And so far in this season, coming into tonight with 281, she has been the primary attacker for the Cougars as the Inferno get that point, now 8-6. Haywood has been a big reason, and we heard about it in the pregame ceremonies from Coach Campbell, that she was the player that the team needed, and she has stepped up in that role so far this year.
Coach Campbell really likes talking about Haywood during our coaches' weekly interviews. Talks about how smart of a player she is. Sometimes she will go with that rocket of an attack, try and just blow it by everybody. But other times she'll send a floater over, be a little more selective, be a little smarter with it. So she's just such an all-around complete player. She's also pretty good defensively, has a decent amount of digs on the year at a mark of 197, 2.63 a set. So she's just such a good player in almost every aspect of the game. I think she's really benefited from the opportunity she's been given this year compared to last year when we didn't see as much as number 12.
Katie Schrems picks up another kill. That's her second on the night. She's only played in 7 sets this season coming into tonight. So it's been nice to see her get some playing time here. She's been dealing with some injuries. And for her to be playing on senior night, that's something that's not only special for her and her family, but that just shows how much Troy Campbell values the seniors. And you can see it on the faces of her teammates as well on the bench. Playing in a match like this, especially senior night, to have her out there is a big deal.
Another thing Coach Campbell loves to talk about during our interviews is how good this team is off the court. They do a lot of good stuff, whether it be taking care of their grades or community service or doing stuff around campus. And players like Katie Schrems, even if they might not be seen as much time on the court because of whatever reasons, they're a big reason for that because they help make sure everyone's taking care of their stuff off the court, and it gives teams like CUC Women's Volleyball a really good reputation around campus.
Lind and Schrems come out. Vernango and Carr come into the match. Vernango will now serve for the Cougars, already with 2 service aces in this match. Haywood with a dig in the back. Nice attack from Stonich, received by Flannery. Vernango dives, keeping it alive for the Inferno was Onazi. Rally continues. Inferno set up McMath. Vernango dumps it deep. What a placement on that ball from Vernango in the court vision.
That ball might have had a chance of getting out of play, but Flannery just still decided to go after it. One of those 50-50 balls she decided to go for it because she touched it. Ends up going out off her hand, but now's a good chance for the Cougars to kind of run away with things up by 3, going a nice little run here.
Inferno seem to be losing some of that communication as the free ball goes out of play. Roll on West was the one that sent it over the net. Cougars out to a 4-point advantage here in set 2.
I brought it up during the pregame, but just because of the numbers that Alverno has right now, you figure eventually they're going to start to wear out. They're going to start to tire. That's when that communication dies down and you start making some more mistakes you wouldn't otherwise. So we're getting deeper into set 2, which has been relatively close so far. And Alverno might be losing it a little bit just because of how much they've had to play with these 6 players.
The dump from Onazi gives the Inferno a point. And a service ace from McMath cuts the deficit to 2 for the Inferno.
Inferno also done a much better job putting runs together. I talked about their lack of consecutive points in set 1. They're doing a good job carrying momentum point to point. And that's why they're able to close the gap so much whenever the Cougars do start to pull away a little.
A block from Taylor and Upshore. Inferno now have a scoring run of their own. Chasing it down is Stonich in front of the bleachers. Free ball over for the Inferno. Dig from Stonich. Fighting it at the net was Vernango. Vernango went under the net though. As in now it is a tied set 2 at 12 apiece.
Cougars got to be careful here. Alverno's been trailing most of this set after a bashing in set 1. If they get any kind of lead here, that's going to give them a lot of morale. So Cougars, they just got to keep them where they are, keep the pressure on.
Jada Carr with another kill. That's number 3 on the night. She had 14 kills on the season before tonight's match. Has appeared in 13 sets as well. She is now in her 2nd set of the night. Stonich with a back row shot. Hunt sends it back over. And a block from Hunt and Vernango, or Carr, excuse me. Vernango on the set to Haywood. Long rally continues. We've seen more of that here in set 2 than in set 1. Carr goes up, floats it down. And now a double touch on the ball from the Inferno. It ends the long rally. Cougars now up 14-12.
Said this a couple points ago, but now's the time for the Cougars to pull away. You got a 2-point lead. Start pulling away with this set 2. Put Alverno away before they get anywhere closer to gaining that lead and get a little momentum.
And that's the strongest attack we've seen from Natalie Onazi all night. And we see why they want to keep feeding her. She didn't have the success she had in set 1 as she's had here in set 2. She's now up to 3 kills. Nice attack from Haywood, keeping it close to the 10-foot line.
That was a really nice attack by Hayward. Keep that ball moving along the net rather than vertical back and forth. And Alverno just didn't have what it takes to cover that kind of horizontal space.
A nicely placed roll shot again from Onazi. A smart player. We've seen her as well as the setter in some of the sets for Alverno. The dump, as we mentioned a couple times, she's been able to pull off, but also listed as an outside hitter. She's been able to decipher that back row for the Cougars, and it's really come up to a point where for her, she's been able to be selective with the roll or just going straight down with the attack.
Well, I talked about how smart someone like Haywood is and her selectiveness when choosing a way to attack rather than just firing it every time or sending a floater every time. And Onazi's kind of in that same vein, a very versatile attacker, and she's starting to get in a groove here in round 2 now that she's not being stonewalled by Jada Carr and Lily Hunt every attack, it seems. So Cougars, they got to make sure number 9 for Alverno doesn't get too hot, or else she could really help get Alverno back into this set.
Another serve from Lynn, and a service ace. Carissa Lynn now with her first service ace of the match. came in off the bench tonight for Coach Campbell's Cougars. Stonich keeps it alive. Lynn at the net, and somehow it goes over. And a block from Schrems. And the missed time jump from West as it goes out of bounds.
Now Cougars really starting to put some distance between the two with this 5-point lead. They had some distance going earlier in the set. Alverno went on a nice little spree to bring things closer. Cougars got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Now's the time to try and put this one away.
And another strong attack from Onazi. She now pulls ahead with 5 kills in the match. That ties CUC's Grace Haywood for a match high. Serve from Izzy Jonyu into the net. It'll be a 2015 Cougar serve to come from Grace Haywood. Jonyu tried to dump it over. Lynn was there. So is Haywood, and Stonich keeps it alive and over. Block from Stonich. Lynn with the setup for Schrems. And it bounces all the way over and out by the Cougars bench. 21-15 CUC. Haywood to serve again.
All goes back to that great defensive play from a couple of those Cougars, including Grace Haywood, giving their team control of the ball so they can go where they want with it.
Too much on that attack from West. Cougars starting to put some more distance between them and the Inferno. 7-point lead for the Cougars here in the late stages of set 2. Line drive serve from Haywood, touches down. Another service ace for the senior.
Seen a couple of those tonight from CUC using the top of the net to their advantage. It's tricky. Ball's got some decent velocity on it, and that top of the net really takes a lot off of it and throws the entire defense out of sorts.
Too much height on that serve from Haywood. 23-16 CUC. Back into the match for the Inferno is Jolia Taylor. And the tip from Lavoie goes out of bounds. Keeping it alive was Lynn, a smart play from the setter. Beers goes over her shoulder for Stonich. Keeping it up for the Inferno was first touched by Flannery. Now Lynn will just dump it over and reset the Cougars' defense. Haywood with a fist on it. Lavoie gets it over. Beers is down and dives back over. Stonich goes up, smacks it off an Inferno player. And into the net to end a long rally was a push from Roland West. Peter, again, those are the long rallies that you talked about in the pregame show just because of the depth that the Inferno have. If the Cougars are able to take it away from the Inferno, that's a big deciding factor in this match.
I mean, those are the volleys you love to win. A point, it's still just a point in the end of the day, but long battle like that, players are tired, things are going on for a lot longer than you thought they would. They will come away with that point, a big win in terms of your morale and knowing that you're doing things right.
And just like that, the Cougars win set 2, 25-17. One set away from a sweep on senior night, but the Inferno try to keep alive one more set as we get ready for more volleyball inside a Geisman Gymnasium after the break on the Cougar Sports Network. Set 3 about to get underway here inside of Geisman Gymnasium. The Cougars up 2-0 over the Inferno. Fans, make sure you head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics and women's volleyball. Click sports and women's volleyball in the drop-down menu to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more at CUCougars.com. So a little bit more of a competitive set in set 2 than set 1 for the Inferno. And they really relied on the attack, Peter, from Natalie Onazi.
Well, Onazi was really good in that set. She's up to 5 kills on the night. A lot cleaner, too, than that set 1. And that's something you can say about the Inferno team as a whole. Not as many mistakes from everyone on the court. And because of that, they're able to get some more attacks going, some more organized offense. And it really showed us they picked up 7 points as compared to where they were in set 1. So Inferno's starting to pick things up a little bit. Now is that sign to the Cougars that you can't let them get anything going. After a dominating set 1, maybe they're caught a little off guard by how clean Alverno looked at points through set 2. This set 3, you got to give it everything you got, shut down whatever Inferno throw at you. Make sure that this one doesn't go to a set 4.
First touch for the Cougars on an attack was from Katie Schrems. And so far, the Inferno have put together a nice game scheme after a slow start. And a point is awarded to the Cougars. Violation on Selena Upshur. Jada Carr and Isabel Vernango to come back into the match after a quick rest on the bench. Peter, another thing to look at in the box score for both sets 1 and 2, the Cougars able to pick up 3 service aces, and Isabel Vernango is credited with 2 of those so far on the night.
Well, when you're able to take care of things on the first set, again, it's a big, mental victory that, you didn't even have to play really. It's just your service. Your server took care of things by herself. But, again, it shows that Alverno, they're having trouble receiving the ball, but they picked things up a little bit in that second set, so see how things look here in set 3.
At the net, Hunt reaches over and sends it down. She was contested by Alex McMath as well as Selena Upshur.
Taking a big lead here. The early goings of set 3 is going to be huge for CUC. We saw set 2. Things were really even for quite a while until we got about a little over the 10-point line for each team. So CUC can come out, take a big lead just like they did set 1. Really put Alverno down.
Jada Carr able to split the double block for the Inferno. Cougars out to an early 3-0 lead here in set 3. Isabel Vernango to serve again for the Cougars. They tried a soft attack with Onazi. Cougars come back with a Stonich swipe. And a point goes to CUC. Another violation at the net from Selena Upshur.
Alverno still struggling with the violations and the whistles. Stuff you just can't do on the court. Again, things look better in that second set. It really killed them back in set 1. The guy called it, Achilles' ear, if I remember correctly. So it's coming back a little here in set 3. They just got to clean it up quick because CUC is starting to run away with this.
Stonis couldn't do much with the set. Had to try to push it over on one leg and off balance. It goes into the net instead. Now to serve for the Inferno is Sherasti Cooch. Play continues. Carr just pushes it over, and it finds court. Jada Carr now picks up 5 kills in the match.
Jada Carr has been having herself a really nice senior night. We haven't seen too much of her throughout the season, but she's gained some extended playing time tonight. She's really taken advantage of it. She's looked really good all night.
And a service ace from Katie Stonich. Her second of the night. Reception error by Breanne Flannery. And the block from Hunt and Carr doesn't work that time. But again, those two combined for 10 blocks. They've been a force to be reckoned with at the net, Peter. Carr stands at 6'1". We mentioned Hunt stands at 5'11". And it's been very tough for the Inferno to get anything over them. So they have to try to go through them or hope for a ricochet out of bounds.
And the real problem is that's where they keep going to attack, is on that side with Carr and Hunt, especially when the Cougars have been on the right side of the court from the point of view of the camera. So it's where they keep going.
What a kick from Isabel Vernango. Keeps it alive. And the point goes to the Cougars.
I see Isabel Vernango's ready for our soccer doubleheader tomorrow afternoon.
It's the first time I've seen in a volleyball match the right leg used as a way to get the ball over the net.
I'm going to be honest, Carter, I didn't even know if that was legal or not, but guess it is.
And a sharp attack. But a violation on Alverno again. Now an 8-2 CUC lead. Hunt to serve again for the Cougars. There's an attack error on Natalie Onazi. The Inferno now grab another point. Subbing back into the match for Alverno is Izzy Jonyu.
Well, we'll see here with this serve and ensuing volley what happens, but Alverno again struggling to put together a line of points here in set 3, just like they did in set 1. You got to keep that momentum going if you want to try and pull back into it when you're down by so much like they are right now.
Carr stuck out the left arm. Vernango now to Haywood, try to drop it into the back left corner. And a point goes to the Cougars. And now a timeout called by the Inferno. They trail by 6 here in a big-time set 3 as the Cougars are up 2-0 so far in the match. More volleyball from Geisman Gymnasium when we return on the Cougar Sports Network. After the Inferno timeout called by head coach Shannon Allen, the Cougars have a couple substitutions. Lynn and Schrems will come back onto the court as Vernango and Carr head to the bench. Cougars trying to pick up their 10th win on the season. They are 4-6 in conference play. Peter, we mentioned in the beginning how CUC is vying for a postseason spot. It's going to take a lot for them to get into the postseason, but a win here on senior night is exactly what they need to keep their hopes alive.
Well, CUC currently sitting at 9th in the conference, that 4-6 conference record. One win behind number 7 and number 8, IIT and WLC, both at 5-5, then 5-6 seeds, currently inhabited by Benedictine and Lakeland at 6-4 in conference play each. So win here, you get another win tomorrow with some home cooking against Edgewood. That sets you up nicely for a finale against a Rockford team who sits at 12th in the conference. So definitely doable for the Cougars, but again, it starts here. You get a nice win against Alverno, and then tomorrow's going to be the real challenge against the number 3 ranked Edgewood.
Julia Beers with another dig. Haywood, too much on that attack. 11-4 in favor of CUC. Serving for the Inferno will be number 10, Roland West. A nice attack from the back row from West. Haven't said her name as much here in set 3 till a few points ago, but now she has tied her teammate Natalie Onazi with 5 kills in the match. Cougars keep it up. Tremendous effort from Haywood and Lynn, but it goes out of play.
Well, really quick going back to West. She came in tonight the kills and kills per set leader of Alverno with 276 and 3.83. Also leads the team in points with 314. So a little surprising. We haven't heard her name called upon as much until this third set. She's someone else they got to get going if they want to have any chance at not only winning this set, which they're down by 5 right now, but coming back and doing something in tonight's matchup as well.
They go over to McMath, and a point goes to the Inferno after the lift from Lavoie. Late reaction after the block from Schrems, and Lavoie failed. Lynn dumps it over, and that's a smart play by the setter to break up the pace of play, but also get the ball back in the hands of the Cougars at the service line.
Cougars, they have so many smart players, especially their setters. They know when to keep the pace going, when to do the usual offensive set, and when to sometimes just to send it over. Send a wild card over and catch the defense sleeping a little bit.
Lynn gives it up for Schrems. Backside for McMath. And keeping it alive and somehow over. Grace Haywood with a tremendous effort. Stonich now pushes it towards the bench. That is kept in play by West. Lynn up for Stonich. Stonich gets it again. Back row attack from Haywood. They go to McMath again. Volley continues. Stonich. Her attack is blocked at the net. They go to Schrems backside. Some miscommunication on Alverno's side sets up the Cougars nicely. Right in front for Lavoie. And a point will go to the Cougars. Double touch on the Inferno.
Great defense all around from everyone. Katie Stonich and Grace Haywood both listed as outside hitters, but flashing that defensive play for the Cougars.
Free ball over for the Cougars from West. Stonich, roll shot, dig from McMath. Back row attack from West, too strong. Substitution now here for the Inferno. Coming back in is Natalie Onazi. 14-7 CUC, and Haywood's serve goes right into the middle of the net.
Alverno putting Onazi back in. They know now's the time they need to make a run if they're going to do it, down by 6 as we're getting towards the middle of set 3, which Cougars trying to put the match away. So try and get Onazi going, try to get West going, get their heavy hitters getting some kills out there. Pull back in this one.
Off-balance attack from Stonich. Now makes it only a 5-point deficit for Alverno. Another serve to come from Flannery. That looked like it was hit off the hand sideways, and it went right into the middle of the net. Service error for the Inferno.
That's really been one of their big problems all night, is even when they get something going offensively, they get a little momentum, try and put some points together. Usually it's just a simple error that ends their run and gets that ball back to the Cougars. They try and take control of things.
The block from Schrems and Hunt prevailed unsuccessful. Service from Alex McMath. Katie Schrems with a strong attack as the senior picks up her 4th kill of the match. Vernango and Carr come in. Lynn and Schrems come out. Vernango, we mentioned, with 2 service aces already tonight. Been the best server for CUC. The attack from Onazi couldn't be handled by Hunt and Carr.
Onazi's velocity's picked up as the night's gone on. Maybe she's getting a little bit more confident in her attacks, and because of that, a lot more of her attempts are proving fruitful as she's just trying to put it through. Usually Carr and Hunt are the 2 blockers up front for her. So as opposed to earlier when her attacks didn't have that much on them and Carr and Hunt were able to handle them fairly easily.
Free attack opportunity for Onazi. Little too late to jump and hit it into the net. 17-11 in favor of the Cougars. Stonich to the back row, received by Flannery. A nice dive from Beers. Stonich was the closest Cougar to the ball, but couldn't lay out for it. And one of the senior night posters has fallen down as a result.
Gotta get the medical personnel out there. Take care of it.
It was one of the Katies. I can't tell which one, though. Haywood able to get it over and off an arm of the Inferno. And so far tonight, Peter, if we look at the hit percentage differences, CUC 86 attacks, 30 kills for a hit percentage of .198. The Inferno 95 attacks, 18 kills, 23 attack errors puts them at negative .053.
Well, it hasn't always been a case of the Cougars doing things really, really well. It's just more of a case of Alverno kind of hurting themselves at time. Obviously, you have a negative hitting percentage. You're making more mistakes than not. So Cougars really benefiting off of that. And, you know, hitting percentage of 198 is a solid mark as well. So,
and a block from Lineca Harley, as Harley picks up her 2nd block of the night. 18-14, favor of CUC. Onazi's serve goes out of bounds. And as we look to tomorrow, we have doubleheader soccer out on the turf at Concordia Stadium. Men's soccer team plays at noon. We'll take on the Concordia University Wisconsin Falcons, followed by the women's soccer team against the same Falcons after the conclusion of the men's match. And these same CUC Cougars you're seeing right now will take on the Edgewood College Eagles at noon here inside a Geisman Gymnasium.
That's going to be a big game. Cougars can come away with a win against a very talented Edgewood team. They're going to set up themselves up nicely against a lower-ranked Rockford team in the season finale to maybe sneak into the playoff picture. But again, that task tomorrow is a tall one. Edgewood up at number 3 in the conference.
Schrems was late on the rotation to get over to assist Lavoie with the block. Goes out. Haywood off one leg, kept it close to the net. McMath with an attack, and just out. Point goes in favor of the Cougars there, now up 20-17. Haywood to serve. McMath with a tip, a dig from Beers. Back row attack from Haywood. McMath couldn't do much on it, so she just had to put it short by the U on the court. Was able to fall down.
Alverno's got to keep it going. They're within striking distance now, 2017, only a 3-point deficit. It's been a lot bigger most of this third set. So they got to go on a run here, at least try and tie this thing up before the Cougars get closer to that magic number of 25.
Stonich, rejected, keeps it up. Roll shot from Schrems. They go to McMath again. Lavoie and Schrems couldn't block it. Haywood gives it up to Stonich, and that one is rocketed down. Flannery couldn't do much. Watched it ricochet off her arm to the court. Cougars up by 4 now.
Extremely well put ball by Stonich. Put it within the zone of Flannery, but just far enough that, unless she put out a diving effort, Flannery wasn't going to be able to reach it. So some great placement from number 18 being celebrated on senior night tonight.
And a block at the net for the Inferno. Serving for Alverno is Alex McMath. Lynn, a little bit off on the set for Schrems. They go back to her. Flannery able to control that one. Onazi hasn't had a couple attacks in a while. Point goes to the Inferno.
Be looking at Coach Troy Campbell of the Cougars to pull out the timeout sign if he needs here. Up by 3 right now, but Alverno gets any closer, which they're getting closer and closer throughout set 3 here. Get your team together, recollect them before you make this final push, because it's going to hurt a lot if Cougars have led for most of the set, and at the last minute, Alverno comes out of nowhere to take it and force a set 4.
Vernango to serve, coming off the bench. They keep it short for Upshore, and she's able to pick up a point for the team. Now 3 kills in the match for Upshore. Hunt with a strong attack, but an even better block from Upshore and Onazi. Inferno within 1 here in set 3.
Talk about the resilience from this Inferno team. They're a small team. They're down, by usually close to around 10 points for most of the set, and now they're within 2, but Cougars also within 2 of claiming the match as well.
A tip from Sharisty Cooch on the attack from Katie Stonich, and she will now serve. Vernango keeps it short for Hunt, finds the back corner. Cougars have match point. Stonich just a little too short, hit the white ribbon on the top of the net. Brings it back within 2.
Well, Alverno, they got to put at least 2 points up on the board now without making a mistake.
Vernango to Haywood. Great reception from Upshore. Tipped over by West. Vernango, Carr, kept alive by Hunt, but not enough. Too many touches for the Cougars. Big point here for the Inferno. They could force extra volleyball here in set 3. The Cougars could win and sweep on senior night. Haywood down, and the Cougars win. 25-23 in set 3. CUC has swept the Inferno on senior night. Final scores from tonight's match. Set 1, 25-10 in favor of the Cougars, 25-17 in favor of the Cougars, and 25-23 in favor of the Cougars. Peter, the Cougars had us holding their breath for just a little bit at the end of set 3, but as it's been so much throughout the year, Grace Haywood, the one that's led the attack, and she picked up 8 kills tonight, but it was her and Katie Stonich that had the 2 most kills so far tonight for the Cougars. 10 for Stonich, 8 for Haywood.
Just a good all-around effort from the Cougars. Coach Campbell has talked a couple of times during his coaches' weeklies about how he really likes his team more when they are a balanced attack. As much as we like to see Grace Haywood set records here at CUC, it's also nice to see a lot of players get their fair share of kills. Like you said, Stonich had 10, Haywood 8, Jada Carr with 5 on senior night, Lily Hunt and Katie Schrems both with 4. So really spreading the ball around, spreading the love around in the offense. And, that really hurts other defenses. You don't know who's going to be able to finish the attack. So nice to see Cougars get everyone involved, and they come away victorious because of it.
Cougars have a lot to play for tomorrow in their noon match against Edgewood College. A quick shout out to everybody behind the scenes at the Cougar Sports Network. Ryan McGee, Wyatt McLaughlin, Emily Balaban, Kate Johnson, Natalie Gallardo, Janie Turnez, as well as Sydney Palaskis-Laher, Kayla McLeod, and CJ Selner. For my partner, Peter Borkowski, I'm Carter Gledhill, signing off from Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars win. They're back in action tomorrow against the Eagles. Thank you for watching the Cougar Sports Network.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.